The second reading is from Colossians. It's from one of the letters of St. Paul. And because it's a feast day and not ordinary time, it is thematically linked to the other readings for the day. And in this case, it's focused on St. Paul's teaching for the Christian family. From his letter to the Colossians, chapter 3, verse 12 through 21. And this is a beautiful, beautiful passage. You can find a similar passage in Ephesians chapter 5. That's the more famous version of Paul's teaching for families. But every year at Christmas time, the church puts this particular passage before us to give us an image of what not Old Testament family life, but what Christian family life looks like in the New Covenant. So listen to these words of wisdom from St. Paul. He says this, "Put on then as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassion, kindness, lowliness, meekness, patience, forbearing one another, and if one has a complaint against another, forgiving each other, as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. And above all these, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, to which you indeed were called in the one body. And be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly as you teach and admonish one another in all wisdom, and as you sing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs with thanksgivings in your hearts to God. And whatever you do, in word or in deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him." All right, pause there for a second. Notice, what has Paul just done? He's given us a list of all the major Christian virtues, right? Compassion, kindness, lowliness, meekness, that means gentleness, patience, forgiveness, harmony, and above all, love, agape. Now, why does the church give us that? Do you think perhaps the church knows that living life in a family is not easy, and that it's easy to be unkind, impatient, prideful, lacking forgiveness? I mean, not having harmony, having discord. Yeah, the church knows that all of those things afflict family life, especially modern family life, where there's been such a breakdown of the family. And so it's wonderful that the church is giving us this vision of the kind of virtues we need to cultivate if we're going to have peace and harmony in the family, right? Above all, forgiveness, right? As well as patience with one another, forbearing one another, because families are going to hurt one another. You hurt the people that you're closest to so easily. We need these admonitions from St. Paul to show us the kind of virtue we have to intentionally cultivate in our family life if we're going to have happiness in our home. Especially gratitude there. Notice, it's so easy to complain all the time about the difficulties of family life. Well, what does Paul say? Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly, and do everything with thankfulness. Do everything with thanksgiving in your heart, praising God for the many blessings that come with family life. Now, I could stop there and get off easy, but I won't, because the next verses are some more challenging verses. And I've done a full presentation on this in a CD called Wives Do What? St. Paul's message for Christian families. You can check that out if you want an hour-long discussion of the implications of this passage. But for now, I just want to keep it short and sweet and highlight here that Paul brings his discussion of the Christian family to a close by giving specific exhortations to 4 groups: wives, husbands, children, and fathers. And this is what he says in these last verses.